Fix my chat. There we go. Now, who are we going to color today? I'm honestly not sure. I don't have anything really just absolutely jumping out at that. But there are so many great pictures in here. And I promise some that I haven't done, too. Well, I'm thinking about him. I think I did the ogre kind of guy. Let's see. Yeah, that's what we did last time we were in this book. I love how that one's just kind of coming at you. Let's see. One's a definite possibility. That's actually really cool as well. I love that they didn't just do the pretty fantasy creatures in this one. And I still say if I do this one, it's got to be done to look like The Witcher, because that's what it makes me think of right off the bat. I think I'm going to go with this guy. Let's do a pretty dragon. And I think this guy needs to be in shades of red and black, because why not? So I'm going to start a little bit different. Actually, I think we're going to start with the red, and then we're going to come in with darker shades and darker reds as well. Darker reds on the black. Had a moment, thought I forgot to turn off my, turn on my Do Not Disturb, but I did not. So we're going to we're going to color the whole thing this nice, bright, cheerful red, and work our way down from there. With paint, a lot of times it's easier to go the dark and then all of the light on top. With colored pencils, it's really kind of the other way around. Hello, how you doing today? And I'm not stressing about pencil marks because there are going to be a lot of layers to this, so it should kind of cover itself over quite a bit. I'm in the mood to make somebody really cool, so. I mean, he's already really cool. The artist did incredible with him, but I want to make him really cool color-wise. And I do apologize. I know I keep moving the book, but sometimes when I'm doing the far reach like this, I have to get a little bit creative because I only have so much space. And the last thing I want to do is push my colored pencils off the table so that then we can do a whole live of me picking up colored pencils. Doesn't sound like fun to me. And he's cool on his own. Don't get me wrong. But I think we can make him a whole lot cooler. I do like the little spikes coming off of his thigh there. If I don't get to play with the tail, I might as well get to have a little bit of fun with coloring in spikes and claws and stuff in different tones. All right. One more leg and one more wing. And of course his head. And we've got this part done. And once again, I have hair under my earpiece. If you go through my videos, once in a while you actually see me and see the fact that I have an insane amount of hair. So, sometimes it decides to go where it doesn't need to go. Like under my earpiece. Not my favorite thing, but there's not really much I can do. I shave my head, and I don't. I am actually a fan of my crazy hair. There we go. Hello. How are we doing today? All right. And I'm going to save the big spikes, I think, for a different shade. We'll do maybe some of these really up close to the face. I think they needed dark red and then maybe some grays and blacks laid over top of it. And because I am that person, his eye will not be red. I'm doing pretty good. I get to play with color, which is always a good thing. Regardless how I get to do it, I'm happy. I get to play with colors. Just didn't like how rough that little spot looked. I need other colors to lay over top of it smoothly. Hello, Elite Speed Art. So I wish I could claim this as my work. It is a coloring book. I can't draw, but I am very good with coloring and shading. So I can add a lot of interest to a piece. I can trace really, really well. I am currently using probably my least used colored pencil, which is the black. Most of the time there is more than plenty of that on any kind of coloring page. But right now we're using it for definition and shading, which is something it's definitely very, very handy for. There we go. We are still pretty much snowed in over here. We managed to get out long enough to run a couple miles up the road to the Dollar General, just to pick up some snacks and just get out of the house for a few minutes. But unfortunately, our road has not been cleared yet, so that was kind of a fun adventure. Also a good reason why having at least one four-wheel drive vehicle is always a good idea. There were a couple of things we did actually need. It wasn't just only because I wanted out of the house, but it definitely had something to do with it. I am a homebody to a great degree, but I do enjoy being able to get out and go every so often. There we go. Hello, hello, welcome back. How are we doing today? Always happy to see people make it back in. We are having some fun with the dragon today. Because why not? If you wanted to do a flyby and kind of melt some things around my house, I would not complain. I'm never going to be a winter person. I think we're going to go in. And we're going to just do a couple spikes here and there in a proper black, just because we can. We'll still go back over them with the red, which I just realized he has. Some do, some don't, but this one does have ears. I missed that. I thought that was just more spikes, but that is definitely a little ear, which means this is probably the tip to the other one. There we go. Sorry, I got sidetracked. That can definitely happen. A lot, especially if you're anything like I am. Thank you, thank you. That is probably my favorite cup. It's the one I will almost always gravitate to when it's clean. I try not to use the same cup 2 days in a row or 2 lives in a row. It's more of a purple, but it might work for what I need. I do use the dog cup. I will use it again. It does happen. I don't really plan which one I'm going to use most of the time. It's just which cup I grab. But I can try and make sure I grab it again soon for you. It is part of the rotation. There we go. I'm just kind of shading in, adding some layers here and there with a and I may go over just this part, maybe the inside of the wing, with a metallic toward the end. But I think I like this red for these. little spiky guys around his face. There we go. Sorry, it got all quiet on you for a second there, guys. Sometimes my attention gets diverted. Actually, a lot of times my attention gets diverted. I kind of like these in that brighter, harder red. And I think what we're going to do is just kind of shade these with it, and then we'll come back with maybe a gray, I think. Or the black just used very, very lightly. And I think we're going to do the same with this big spike coming out of each shoulder. Because we can. He is definitely already starting to kind of take the look I was envisioning a little bit. I think, actually, pardon me as I dig for a minute here. Ha. Red sparkly gel pen, always a handy thing. Just for adding that little bit of extra because we can. Actually, I know I said his eye wasn't going to be red, but you know what? I changed my mind. And I have zero regrets. His little claw thingies like that. How many pets do I have? That's a creative question because it really depends on what you classify as pet. We have 2 green cheek conures, 2 cockatiels, which are 2 different types of bird. We have 3 chinchillas. We have 6 and occasionally 7 cats. I say occasionally 7 because I have 1 feral that I'm still working on. We have 1 dog, 1 bearded dragon. I also have a crab that some people call like an aquarium pet, and some people would call it a pet. She's just a little red claw crab. And then I also have my 2 other fish tanks, one with a betta and one with just a whole community of fish. So the answer to the question is a lot. I have a lot of pets. They all have their own little personalities, so I don't know why I decided his nails needed to be this super shiny red, but I'm kind of liking it, so. I have no regrets. This book was a Walmart book. Had to stop and think on that one. Just depending on my moods, I pick them up in a lot of different places. Now I am going in with this gray and just shading a few areas again. We don't want him to be too plain color, like monochromatic. We want a little bit of variation in the tones. Gray is a really good, like, blending and toning color, because it doesn't add a lot of its own. This one, I don't remember exactly. I want to say, like, in the 13, 14 range. There we go. And I think I'm satisfied with him. So now, let's do the same basic concept with the rock. Actually, easy answer. Let's see. No, it's regularly $16.99, but it was on sale, so I think the 13.14 was accurate. There we go. I was gonna on this a little bit more, but I think this kind of yellowy sandy color might actually be about perfect. They call it sunflower. I don't know that really would be an accurate sunflower color, but it's a really phenomenal color for like a sandy rock outcropping. Have a great night, and hopefully we'll see you again tomorrow. I do apologize. I thought I got the hair out of my earpiece, but my ear said no. So I had to fix that. And I want a slightly darker sandy color for behind. There we go. Might have to go over this one with a little bit of a darker brown because it's a little closer in color than I realized. I don't want them to be quite so matchy-matchy. But that's all right. We can work with that. There we go. We are not anywhere close to my time that I like to work with anyway, so we can go in and play with our shading a bit. Let's see, darker gray. I just want this at a slightly sharper point. There we go. We want this to be background noise, but we don't want it to just disappear. So. We don't want it to just blend in perfectly because we want this front piece to kind of stand out a little bit for reasons other than that it has a dragon sitting on it. I'm actually really liking the way the tan and the gray are playing again and creating that nice depth. This is definitely not going to be my longest live, but that's okay. Let's see. I did say I wanted to do this with him. I kind of got sidetracked and forgot. But I do want to go over the dragon with the gold. Make him nice and shiny. And this is one we don't want to deposit too much color. We're not trying to make him a flat out gold dragon. But it's going to serve two purposes. One, it's going to blend some of those other colors just a little bit. I do want a little bit on there though. And two, it's going to add just a hint of shimmer. But I think I do want to keep it pretty much just to this part of him. And it also adds just that little bit of different for these underscales. And if we had access to his tail, I would do the tail as well. And I also want to go to this like fleshy wing part. Because I feel like that would be a little bit different from everything else as well. And that definitely is making that difference for me. And I am actually trying to deposit quite a bit of color here because I want that reddish gold as opposed to just adding a little bit of shimmer. And same as I kind of pushed it onto his horns a little bit darker. I actually really think that made a difference. We have at least hit my 30-minute mark. I still got to do my background, but that's all right. Same as pretty much always with me. It's going to be a case of more suggestion of color than really coloring in that much sky. So We definitely don't want the sky to be the focal point when we have and all of that good stuff to be looking at. Oh, excuse me. I'm also not one to just sit and leave huge patches of white because I don't feel like coloring them in. So, this is kind of my compromise between the two things, which is what I like to call just doing a suggestion of color. There's enough there that you can kind of tell that it was in fact colored in, but not enough to be taking away from anything else in the picture. There we go. All right, and there he is. I'm actually kind of thrilled with this. I know it wasn't as long as I normally try to do, but I did come out in a way that I am very, very happy with. So I am going to go ahead and stop there instead of keeping on messing with it. And we'll be back on tomorrow to do something different. And I will talk to you guys next time.